So let's do a video on, another helpful video, in my opinion, on what to look for when, looking to, when trying to buy a used Mopar. I think you could probably take this same, the same criteria to any make and model. I just, I don't deal in Chevrolets, and I care very few about any Fords. But so, if you're in the market for a car, number one is determining your budget that you have, and then patience. You have to be patient. If you're in a rush, more than likely you're not going to find the best deal for your dollar. When I was looking for a car like this before I bought the Demon, I bought it because the Barracuda's pretty rowdy, and it's expensive to run on race gas, and it's got 488s in it, and even though I'm right in Kansas City, so I don't have to go really anywhere to go out and cruise and see people and have fun. Expensive engine, and and I wanted to drive. I like driving these cars as much as possible, so I wanted something that was a lot more milder, that I could drive every day, that it wasn't raining and snowing. Because I like being in these cars. These cars represent me. I don't like being in a modern car. I like being in these cars. So anyway, with that said, you have to establish your budget, and then be honest about what you're trying to achieve. Like I said, I was trying to get a daily type driver, something cool looking. Wasn't really looking for a lot of performance. Now we're kind of getting away from that, but that's here nor there. That's a default in me. The engine burns a little oil, so now we're gonna get a little carried away with it, which is something I didn't want to do, but I have a hard time not doing that. But anyhow, so I had a reasonable budget. I wanted to spend 25 to 35 grand at the time. This was 3 years ago now, and so I was looking around, looking on, and I had no particular car in mind. It's just something that I wanted to catch my eye. Never had a 4-speed car yet, so that would have been a plus. Basically, it was just something that really caught my eye. So I was on Racing Junk, and I saw this, and obviously I don't know why it was on Racing Junk, because that's the last place this car should have ever been. But anyway, he had it listed, 71 Demon, and I ended up buying this car after a lot of pictures, conversations with the guy, talked to him on the phone. I bought the car out of North Carolina. I bought this car for $28,000, okay, 3 years ago. Like I told you all before, it was an original 318 automatic Demon, this color, green vinyl top, green interior. The guy he bought it from 15 years prior to him owning it, did the conversion on it, restoration, whatever you want to call it. So this car has been like this for 18 years, all right? But at first glance, when I saw the car in the pictures, I was like, looks like it's supposed to look, outside of the Kragers and stuff on it. But it looks like a stock 71 340 Demon, I do like my cars to look kind of like they're supposed to look. As you get into more street strip or racy, there's things that you put on the cars that can maybe take away from 100% original type look, but that's a different topic. So I immediately was drawn to the car. Okay, I liked the color combination of it. I liked the green. I'm a green guy. I like greens and blues. And, in the early B bodies, I like the cream, the dirty white, creamy white, whatever you want to call it. So I was immediately drawn to the car just from a visual aspect of it. The car looked right to me. You know, I like the green. I like the black. You know, the black vinyl top kind of sets it off, breaks it up. The scoops, you know, it's got the bezels on it. 71 has a great grill. Again, I don't really like the 72 grill. You know, 71 has the flush side markers on them. 72 does not. Pretty good, you know, pretty big difference. You know, these are just nice and clean. So anyway, and it was in my, you know, it was in my range where I wanted to be. 4-speed car, made it a bonus. You know, it was the 340 in this car came out of a 71 Charger. So if someone was to like look at the date on the block, it's a 71. It came out of a Charger. And you know, there was not really a lot that I did not like about the car. So I started talking to the guy, got a bunch of pictures, you know, saw more and more and more of the car. He had a really nice video on YouTube, and you know, where he did a walk around when he bought the car. And so I was, you know, I was okay with buying the car, you know, sight unseen. You know, just by pictures, conversations, video. I saw enough of things that I like that I felt that this was not a cobbled up disaster. And when I say things that I like, there's warning things for me that make me question the integrity of the rest of the build. Is this car 100% correct in every single way? No. But there's a lot more that is correct than there isn't. You know, the guy, and here's some examples. So he has the reproduction, you know, Mopar battery in it. He put all the stickers on the car. You know, all the stickers everywhere. That needs to be, you know, has the factory air cleaner, the Chrysler heater hoses. Can't really see it now, but it's yeah, it's on the other side. Oh no, actually I changed it out. The original one that was on the car was a little bit plugged up, and I didn't get too bonkers with that. I didn't have another clamp, so it's got mismatched clamps on it, but it had a date-coded, one of the reproduction date-coded fuel filters on it. You know, it's got the correct exhaust manifolds, the HP manifolds. It does have an air gap intake on it. It's, you know, it's got the M&H wiring harnesses, which are really nice, you know, restored wiper motor. You know, the I don't know if they're reproduction or, you know, NOS or whatever, but you know, the voltage regulator, just all the electronics, just all the little details on the car that the guy made. You know, he put the grommets. You know, I don't think this hood was a factory dual scoop hood. Maybe, you know, maybe it was. I don't. It's, you know, it's hard to tell. I'm not sure if a guy could. I'm not sure if a guy could do that or not. I guess I could pull that down a little bit. I'm not sure, and I guess really it doesn't really matter. It was done nicely. If it was a factory dual scooped hood, you know, great. And if it wasn't, it was done very nicely. You know, maybe it was. I mean, I'm not a you know, concourse Mopar expert, but I am missing a nut there, it looks like. But you know, maybe it wouldn't have had those holes in it. I don't know. But anyway, that's beside the point. Point of it is, like, the guy went to the extra details of, you know, putting the grommets on it. You know, where when you see a lot of these cars that just put a set of scoops on it, they just cut the hole and they they don't put the grommets on it. They don't put the correct style nuts for the hood scoop on it. So, you know, these are the things. Now, I did put one of those 4 seconds flat boxes on it because I had the ignition module go out on this car. Acted up on me there about a year ago, so I upgraded to that. But I mounted it in the same spot that they had it, and then I added a ground wire. Tried to make it look really nice, you know, and tie it in to where it didn't look out of place, you know. So I didn't add the disconnect that was on the car, so I just left it there. Not really a fan of those. That sometimes causes me a little bit of an issue. You got to turn the dial back and retighten it. But anyway, I didn't add that on there. That was on there. So, you know, the engine was painted orange. Now, the second day I did get the car, the front cover gasket blew out on it. That was really nice. Had to have the car towed home. But so I put I think I had a different front cover front cover. The one that was on there was a little bit corroded. I had a new one that was on the Barracuda engine the first time. I put that on there, and then the water pump had signs of seeping. So I put the water pump that was on the Barracuda the first time on there. And like, you know, these style clamps, the Corbin style clamps, that's why this one here is on there. It's got the other worm style clamp. It started seeping a little bit after I refilled everything back up. I didn't want to, you know, mess with it. So I just added a clamp. That's why it's double clamp there. You know, these clamps look nice when it's that kind of car, and I do plan on going back with those clamps when I put the other engine in it. But I do think that in some instances it's not a bad idea maybe to swipe a little bit of RTV on the inside of the hose and then put them on, because especially the reproduction clamps, people have said that they don't fit quite as tight, and you know, nothing worse than putting an engine all together, all nice, all painted, everything's nice, and you fire it up and you know, you have a leak you got to deal with. So but anyway, so at first glance, you know, you can tell that, you know, obviously this is 18 years old, so the paint's coming off, you know, in spots on the bell covers and in the intake, the valley there. But at first glance, this thing looks like there was some effort to try to make it look correct. I mean, that's basically what I'm getting at here. Okay, there wasn't a lot of hackery. There wasn't a lot of, you know, putting whatever parts on. You know, it's got the Mopar plug wires on it. It's just, it takes effort, okay, to do a car like this, even though it's not, you know, fresh. And so, in my opinion, that is a good sign. You know, when they got aftermarket wires and they're just zip tied all together, you know, this guy used the factory wire separators, the factory style. And, you know, that takes effort, guys. And so that is a good sign. When you don't see that, that's, you know, those are things that are like red flags for me. It's like, well, kind of questioning now the rest of the build. Okay. If a guy goes to the extent and buys, you know, the factory style, you know, you buy it through year one, they're a vendor for M&H. Those are really nice wiring harnesses. They're the exact duplicate of the factory harnesses. They aren't cheap, but they're correct. That's a sign that a guy of what he had envisioned for the end product. That's, you know, those are good signs for me. You know, the grill wasn't busted up. It wasn't, you know, painted goofy. You know, had, you know, the chrome bumper on the car. It just had an overall, you know, correct look. Vinyl top was nice. He converted the interior, like I said, from green to black. Obviously, it had new dash pads done on it. Put a rally dash in it. 4-speed kit from Brewers. New seat covers. He did dye the headrest. You can't buy new headrests. So then you can see a little bit of grains coming through there. They need to be redone. Factory style seat belts. Factory belts, that's another good sign. The package tray is not all hacked up with a stereo. Factory radio. These are things as I'm looking at the car of what I like. I don't personally like a stereo in my car. I don't want all the extra wiring mess that goes along with aftermarket stereo speakers. This. I just don't. I'm okay with just listening to the sound of the car and just cruising without a boom in stereo. It's got the correct exhaust tips on the car, the correct stripes, the correct colors of things. Can't say I'm a huge fan of the wing. Don't really know if I would put it on if I had the option to, if I was building the car from scratch. But it was on there, so obviously we're not going to take it off. But all in all, what I'm getting at is, you need to pay attention to the details of the car. Like when the door strikers on the cars are painted. That's always a red flag, for me. It's like, well, if they weren't concerned enough to take it out, at minimum tape it off, but take it out, then that just says to me that they were lazy and it was a quick job. And overall, the car probably, if you really started looking deeper, is not going to be very nice. So, those are some of the things. There's a lot of telltales that let you know, like what the intent was, what the effort level was, what the guy's vision was. He went to extent. Now I don't know. I can't speak for him, but this is a 71 car, and it's got a 71 340 in it. And with the rest, even though it's not a numbers matching car, but with the rest of the effort that he went into doing Mopar wires, the Mopar heater hoses, the reproduction dated fuel filter, the factory air cleaner, had a restored wiper motor on, the reproduction or NOS, whatever, probably, reproduction, but electronics on the car, the correct new wiring harness on the car, front to back, under the dash, everything, it's all new. Those are signs that the guy wanted something really nice. He had a vision. It's got the correct year engine in the car. When we look back in the trunk, everything on the car works. All the gauges work. It's got the electronic trunk opener, which is kind of nice. In the trunk, I had something in there. I got some bullshit on there. I need to get that wiped off. But, it's got the factory style mat in the car. It just, now they did mini tub the car. I'm not really sure why they mini tubbed the car, but it's got, he just went to a lot of detail to, it's got the reproduction stickers on the car, stuff of that nature. And it's just like, those are things that you want to look for. That just shows you the guy put in the extra effort to put out a nice quality product. Okay, so that's enough there. Now, really one of the most important things, because anybody could just look at the car from the top side, okay? But if that all checks the boxes, you still need to look at the underside of the car. The underside of the car, that is the most important part of any car. You have to look at the underside of the car. Now, this is the only one I have up on the lift. This is not, this is a fine example, actually, because a lot of guys buy modified cars or street strip cars. I bought this car sight unseen. I bought it just from pictures. Now, he sent me a lot of pictures. I asked him for pictures of the underside of the car. He sent me all the, probably 20, 30 pictures of the underside of the car. I have probably 500 or 600 pictures of the Demon back when it was in bare metal, when they were going through the restoration / conversion process of the car. I got so many pictures, I quit looking at them. It was just ridiculous. But, guys that are proud of what they're doing, they're going to take pictures. They're going to be able to show you, these things. They're not trying to hide anything. and guys that are not trying to hide anything on a cobbled up car, if you're a serious buyer, they're gonna take the extra 5 or 10 minutes and lay on the ground, take pictures for you if you want underside pictures. You know, this car has all the factory floors, factory trunk, you know, everything in it. It's got the factory undercoating on the car. It was just, you know, when we saw the car, it was just a good clean roller. Now it was just a roller. Now we've added a few holes here and there in the trunk. Maybe one day those will get welded back closed or something. But anyway, that's the type of stuff that happens on these street strip type cars. You know, not really super happy with that. That was where a different fuel pump and whatnot was mounted, and just a piece of junk Holly set up. But anyhow, it was all original sheet metal. You know, the underside of the car, you know, there wasn't any rotted frames, you know, no goofy shit going on with the torsion bar cross member. Nothing rotted there. You know, I had the subframe connectors, you know, added in the car. A friend of mine did a super nice job on those. He troughed them into the floor, so it's a nice straight, connector all the way around instead of dipping down. I know US Car Tool makes them, but I actually like these nicer. But you know, that is the most important part of the car. You know, obviously you want to be looking at the frame rails, you know, the front frame rails, you know, unibody cars, so front frame sections or frame stubs, whatever you want to call them. And, you know, look for kinks, bends, any signs of prior repair. You know, it should be a good, clean car. If it's not, then just be patient. I mean, there's always cars out there for sale. You have to be patient. If you're not patient, you know, you're not going to end up with a good, clean, unmolested, uncobbled up car. You know, and you always want to start off with a good, you know, solid foundation. You know, when they have factory undercoating on them yet, I mean, this has been lightly, you know, dusted over with, you know, because it was just dirty brown. But, you know, it's the factory undercoating on the car. You know, years ago, it was just lightly dusted over with a real light undercoating. You can see kind of right there. Maybe, I don't know if it picks up or not. Just a real super light undercoating was put on it. But, you know, that's the most important part of the car. You do not want to get into a basket case, really. I mean, unless you're willing to, you know, spend a lot of, you know, get it for the right price. You're willing to put in a lot of work. But, and then, you know, there's also, you know, things to look for, like, even when you're looking at these type cars, a modified car, you know, it doesn't have to be an OEM car. It could be a modified car. Well, you know, and I'm not saying this is perfect or the best or anything, but is there effort to attention to detail and fit and finish and trying to avoid potential problems? You know, these wires are just not flapping in the breeze. You know, I wrapped them down with a piece of Velcro tape and zip tied them on nice and ran them nice and got some more Velcro tape, and, you know, all the hoses are ran nice. They're all clamped nice. You know, they're not just zip tied on there, zip tied onto the car, dangling down all over the damn place. You know, they're every, you know, kind of in the same distance. They're all, you know, just bolted on with those rubber clamps, those cushion clamps. You know, ran over the top of the subframe, the fuel line, you know, put some hose on it to protect it, ran it through, got the right size grommet, you know, for the little, the torsion bar cross member aspect, the little frame section here. You know, protected it with another grommet, did the same thing here, you know, and ran it through with another grommet of the right size. Those are the type of things that when you're looking at these cars tell you that, geez, you know, instead of the guy just drilling the hole and running like on Tony's cars, and just running fuel line and everything else and wiring through bare holes, and either, you know, over time cutting a hole in the fuel line or shorting an electrical circuit out, and I see it on lots and lots of cars. There was effort and time and patience in doing it nicely to protect everything, so that you don't have issues. You know, here's the transmission cooler lines. Again, you know, I use that Velcro wrap to keep them together nice. Got the cushion clamps. I went and used the park and brake deals here. They kind of fit through there nice. That helps hold them up. Again, with the Velcro deal, just to keep everything nice and tidy. You know, the wiring, I covered it in, you can buy heat shrink in like real long lengths. Covered it in heat shrink, and, you know, again, use the cushion clamps. And it's just, again, it's that extra effort, that attention to a detail, you know, that's just going to make the difference between a well-built car and a cobbled up, you know, mess. And so I just, you know, like I said, there's two ways to look at the car. Obviously, you know, pictures, this and that. I don't particularly like non-factory colors, but with that said, you know, I mean, that's just me. If you like non-factory colors, that's fine. But, you know, if you want to get a good, solid, clean car, one that was at least done with some intelligence and consciousness, look at the details. You know what I mean? Like I said, I see so many, like the door strikers that are painted and stuff, and you know, wiring that gets painted over, and you know, stuff that wasn't taken off prior to paint. That's a sign that it was done quickly. Okay, there wasn't a lot of effort that went into the build or the conversion to make it nice. I mean, you know, this guy here, he put the heater hose retainers on, even though that son of a bitch doesn't want to stay in there very well. Probably needs a new one. You know, those are the things that you want to look for when you got overspray on everything, and things are painted that aren't supposed to be painted, and the wiring's all butchered, and, you know, the spark plug wires are zip tied together and they're hanging all over the place, and it's got some $7 air cleaner on it, and the grill has been, you know, painted straight black across, and they painted the bumper, you know, green. I mean, maybe that's your style, but it could be done nicely. Typically, that is an indication of it's been cobbled up. Okay, it's they're trying to hide stuff. They're trying to hide a bad bumper that's all pitted, so they just sanded it down and painted it. And again, I'm not saying that that's wrong. Just be aware of their intent. They weren't willing to buy. Now, I'm pretty sure these are aftermarket rechrome bumpers. I can tell the difference between the Barracuda has nice bumpers on it, and I had Tri-City plating do, and these here, you can just tell the difference. I think these are like a repop, you know, type deal from back in the day. I don't think they're like a $700-800 a piece type bumper. They look nice, you know, there's nothing wrong with them. You can just see it when you look close, you know, that I don't think it was a super high-end plating type job. But anyway, just look at the details. Look at the details on the car, okay? And that will say a lot about things that you probably aren't seeing. If the things that are right out in the wide open are not done correctly and cobbled, then probably the rest of the car is going to be the same way. So I'm going to cut this off, and, you know, just buyer beware, and, you know, just use a little common sense, and take your time. Be patient when you're shopping for a car, because there are some good deals out there. All right, take care.